Hi, I'm Ryan Bates, field agronomist, West Central Wisconsin. Soybean diseases are starting to show up as we reach the later part of the growing seasons. White mold and sudden death syndromes are two primary diseases I'm seeing. Today I'm standing in an area of a field that has sudden death syndrome. Sudden death syndrome can be identified by looking at those leaves and where you see those green veins with the yellowing and browning inner vein. That's a classic sign that you have potentially sudden death syndrome. To really verify that or get a better idea if that's sudden death syndrome or brown stem rot is split the stem. When you split the stem, you're going to look at the pith or the center region of that stem. And if that's white, you have sudden death syndrome. If that's brown in color, then you're dealing with brown stem rot. So why do we have this disease and how do we manage? So sudden death syndrome favors development during cool, wet conditions just after planting. If you look at what we planned into, that's exactly what we had. Cool, wet conditions at planting provided almost ideal conditions for development of sudden death syndrome. All we needed was the fungal pathogen to be present. So sudden death syndrome is a fungal pathogen that's a root rot, develops and builds onto that root system. Then later in the season, as we reach late August into September, we start seeing those foliar symptoms. And what's happening there is the root rot is actually penetrating the root, and then with a rain, flush of water comes in, pulls that toxin up to the leaves, and you get that foliar symptomology like we see and identify sudden death syndrome. Now that we see it, we can start managing it. And so how do we manage it is, the first thing I would look to do is reduce compaction. Add tile and tillage to reduce the compaction in those areas will help alleviate and reduce the risk of development of sudden death syndrome. Also, I would look at variety selection. Within the product guide, you'll see rating differences by variety of their tolerance or resistance to sudden death syndrome. Selecting one that has a higher level of tolerance to sudden death syndrome can provide you additional protection to sudden death syndrome and should be strategically placed in those fields that you've seen sudden death syndrome in the past. Additionally, if you have a good variety or a field that is high levels of sudden death risk and seen in the past, is using a seed treatment. Since the infection happens just after planting, a seed treatment can be effective. So there is one out there used at the high rate called Allevo that can provide you additional protection on sudden death syndrome. These management practices can help reduce your risk of sudden death syndrome going forward, and something that we all need to consider as we start planning for 2020 as well as 2021. Keep good records so you come back to those notes so you can reduce your risk going forward. Thank you for your time today.
That concludes this Pioneer Growing Point Agronomy video podcast. Visit our page on pioneer.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook for more agronomy insights.